Physiology is a fascinating subject. There are amazing things going on in the body and described in human physiology. We in our channel try to capture all those amazing, fascinating events and describe them in simple language to you. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You will also get MCQs daily on a daily basis. Plus, periodically we will announce quizzes with grand prizes to win. Now coming to the fascinating story for the day. Calcium pushes out the potassium. Potassium returns the favor. Yes, that's the title of the story. All in the name of electrochemical gradient. So let's have a look at this story. Let's talk about the potassium and how calcium pushes it out of the cell and how it is favorable at many places in the body. There is a channel called as big K channel because it allows big potassium conductance. It allows big potassium current. So BK channel, also called as maxi-K channel because of the big potassium current. Calcium activated potassium channel. Well, where is this channel present? In the CNS neurons, in the multiple places, cerebellum, Purkinje neurons, and smooth muscle. So let's have a look at this channel, how it operates and what it achieves. Now look, potassium or any ion for that matter diffuses due to its own concentration gradient, and the ions also diffuse because of the electrochemical gradient or electrical gradient across the membrane. Now in this case, what happens is this potassium is going to be driven out via the big K channel or maxi-K channel. But how? An electrical gradient favorable to this movement is created. By whom? None other than calcium. So what happens is calcium enters the cell, and this calcium, you know, it's a divalent cation. So it brings in a lot of positive charges, and that means a lot of positive charges accumulate inside the cell and a favorable electrical gradient is created. More positive charges on the inside compared to outside means now the potassium will be driven out by the electrical gradient, and potassium is driven out of the cell through this big K channel, and that is how a big conductance is created for the potassium. So this is how calcium pushes the potassium out of the cell, helps in its diffusion. Now where does this help? Cerebellum, Purkinje neurons, and therefore in a way it helps in the voluntary movements. It has been found that in mice in whom this potassium channel has been knocked out or the gene has been knocked out, there is ataxia as a symptom. So obviously cerebellum, this channel plays an important role. Smooth muscle cell, yes. Look, anywhere in the body, if the calcium enters, it's going to help in the contraction of the muscle. Over here, in the case of smooth muscle, it is going to also help in the relaxation. How? Calcium comes in, it allows the potassium to be driven out. Potassium goes out means positive charges going out. That means it helps in the repolarization or even hyperpolarization of the smooth muscle cell. That means the smooth muscle cell will relax. Now, this is helpful particularly in the vascular smooth muscle cells. So blood vessel relaxation is achieved by these potassium channels, and it has been observed that if this channel is defective or not present, then such people can suffer from hypertension because vascular smooth muscle cell is unable to relax properly. So this is the importance, physiological significance of this channel and calcium activated potassium current. Now let's go to the next site in the body. This is where there will be a potassium driven calcium movement. Yes, you heard it right. It's seen in the thick ascending limb of loop of Henle. What happens here is there is a transporter called as NKCC transporter, sodium potassium chloride cotransporter. in the apical membrane of the cells which are lining the tubules. So it will transport sodium, potassium and chloride into the cell. Now sodium and chloride have their own ways to leave the cell and enter the blood. This is for the sodium and chloride reabsorption. There is sodium potassium pump which will send the sodium out of the cell. Sodium will enter the blood. Chloride also has its own transporter and therefore chloride will also enter the blood. What about potassium? This poor potassium has no transporter on the other side. In fact, the sodium potassium pump is bringing the potassium back into the cell. So instead of leaving the cell, more and more potassium is coming into the cell. So potassium from the lumen entered the cell, but instead of going out of the cell and entering the blood, it is coming back and back via the sodium potassium pump. Now there will be the recycling of potassium. This entire event has been described as recycling of potassium. That is, now this potassium which is rising inside the cell will now leak out or move out of the cell and come back into the lumen via another channel which is called as ROMK channel, renal outer medullary potassium channel. So potassium again coming back into the tubular lumen. What happens because of this? This potassium which is coming out will bring in lot of positive charges. Now this creates lumen positive potential. A positive potential created in the lumen. And because of this potential, the divalent cations like calcium and magnesium, they will be driven out of the lumen and will be absorbed into the bloodstream. Again, electrochemical gradient, this time created by the potassium, and will be useful for the calcium to diffuse out of the tubular fluid and absorbed into the blood. So this is potassium driven calcium movement. Isn't it fascinating? They are returning the favor, and many more such interesting stories and fascinating principles will be coming up in the videos coming soon.